You know what I'm ready to talk about right now? Lines on our face, and especially for women. And I've wanted to say something about this ever since I read the book The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf, a book that I would highly recommend. And, you know, it's fine for men to age, right? And to have these lines, on their face that show wisdom, that show authority, that show power. But it's not okay for women. It's like we expire as soon as we start getting wrinkles and lines that, as my friend Kesia said, aren't they beautiful? That they show this experience, this texture to our face. And I don't need anyone to tell me I'm beautiful. I fucking know. I know how beautiful I am because I know all the experiences I've had. I'm not saying this so that I can get responses like, oh, you're beautiful even with the lines. No, I'm beautiful because of the lines and because of the texture of my face, because of every experience that I've had that shows up like a map, like a constellation. And Naomi Wolf talks about how women, part of the way that we're kept disempowered, right, is by spending so much of our money, and we already make less money than men, still even today in 2021. You know, I don't know what it is, but 20 years ago it was 75 cents to the dollar for the same work. And I'm reading this amazing book, thank you to my friend Regina, who recommended it to me, but it just found me at Vargo's bookstore in Postman. I didn't even know Regina had specifically recommended this book. It's called The Dance of the Dissident Daughter by Sue Monk Kidd, and I would highly recommend it. The subtitle is One Woman's Journey from a Christian Faith to the Divine Feminine. And, you know, there's this idea that we have an expiration date. And Ruby Carr has a beautiful poem about this too. Like, I'm just fucking getting started in my 30s, y'all. I'm not going to be controlled anymore by this idea that I have an expiration date in my 30s. And if I'm starting to get lines and wrinkles and show of wisdom and power and age on my face, that means I don't have any worth anymore as a woman, because you know what? My worth is just getting started. My worth is just getting started as I'm starting to show texture and experience and wisdom. And I want to change this paradigm that we may revere our female elders as well as the male. And that, as Naomi Wolf talks about, we aren't spending, right? That's right. Sue Monk Kidd talks about in this book, The Dance of the Dissident Daughter, how at least 20 years ago when she wrote it, women were doing 2/3 of the work in the world and getting 1/10 of the pay. And I'm sure it's changed some, but that's a pretty fucking big margin. So I'm sure it hasn't changed all the way. And we're doing that. And then to keep us controlled even more, to keep us subservient with these ridiculous interpretations of holy texts. Then with that little money, that disproportionate money that we do make, we have to spend it on beauty, very expensive and always new technology, beauty creams and surgeries to change the way we look, because it's not okay. Because it's not okay for women to age, because the only way that we can be in our sexual power is in the maiden stage, because that is all it is fucking reduced to. Sexual power is life force and energy, and it only grows. And there's the maiden stage and the mother stage and the crone stage, and they are all powerful. And we have to be talking about this, you guys, because I am beautiful for the lines that are on my face, for the sunspots that are all over me. I'm not going to change this to disempower myself by spending my money, my power, my symbol of energy on trying to change the way I look, or God forbid, injecting myself or cutting myself open. Violence is what that is. And it keeps us down, even as in the law and in different political arenas, we may be getting equal power, but then there are all of these other insidious, subversive ways to keep us down. And, you know, I'm just done. I've got to talk about this. I've got to talk about how this idea that we need to keep ourselves young, looking like children with no lines on our face, with no texture to our skin, with no texture and wisdom of experience. I'm done. I'm not doing that. And I don't want that for my daughter. And I don't want that for all of the young girls who maybe would watch this video, who may come into my life. I don't want that even for my mother, who's 60. I don't want this for women anymore. It's over. Women are allowed, not just allowed, but empowered and worshipped in coming into our wisdom, in coming into our texture, in coming into our experience. We don't have to look like fucking babies with smooth baby skin to be acceptable. And in fact, that disempowers us. Like this idea that we can only be worthy if we look like children so that we don't threaten anyone. Well, if this threatens you, that I have short hair and I have lines on my face and I'm talking like this in my full power, then go somewhere else, because I'm not letting any of the fucking patriarchy bullshit have power over me anymore. And I'm speaking for and as a woman. And if that intimidates you, then don't stay here, because somebody's got to speak up. When some of the most empowered, overt, extroverted, just go get 'em women I know are looking in their face and putting on cream and cream and cream and talking about getting Botox, these women who seem so strong and so confident and so empowered, then something is wrong. When we have to inject and harm our faces and spend the power that we have instead of on food and fuel that can let me live this kind of free life, I have to spend this kind of free life. I have to spend it on expensive creams and injections and surgery to continue to look like a non-threatening baby, because this is the only sexual power that's been celebrated. And that's the only way we have power, is by being attractive to men, which is apparently done by not having any lines on our face, by not having any texture, or any experience, or any wisdom, or any power. No. So if this is too much for you, if I'm too much for you like this, go somewhere else. I mean it. I'm done being pleasing, especially for men. I really am. I think having a life partner is part of my life one day. And whoever that person is will be someone that loves to see me like this. Not someone who needs to control me and who gets scared of a woman in her power, of a woman coming out of the need to please men anymore. To spend my money and to spend my attention and to spend my worry and to spend my energy trying to change how I naturally am and how I naturally ferment and ripen and become wise and experienced. You, to all the women watching this, the way that your face and body changes with time is your wisdom and is your power. Let us change the paradigm now. Let us change the paradigm of women having to look like children to be acceptable. And let us rever the mother and the crone as much as the maiden. It is time. It's time to speak up.